All right, welcome back to episode number 4. Avoid these mistakes when selling your home. And yeah, welcome back to another episode. So today, just want to get into some mistakes that I see out there, or mistakes that can, at the end of the day, cause a seller to leave money on the table. So if you're listening on Spotify, thank you. If you're listening wherever you're listening to, thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube or on the website, hsr.team, thank you. Leave a comment wherever you are, leave a rating. It really does help. And before we get into it, just a little disclaimer. This podcast is not intended to solicit anyone who has their home currently listed with a brokerage. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Are you thinking about selling your home? Today, I want to share a story with you about a property I had a recent interaction with that's sitting on the market. And there's a number of things that could have been done better to ensure a faster transaction. And also, I want to talk about pricing strategy, how pricing strategy can create some challenges. So maybe the pricing strategy that you're going for does not align with the current market. And we'll get into that today. So we're going to talk about how to avoid these pitfalls and to set yourself up for a smooth and successful sale. So I'm going to jump right into that story. So the first thing is, recently there was a property that I had some clients interested in, and what it appeared to be online, it was not in person. So when I looked at the listing and I looked at the listing description, I could see, there's something wrong here. So the way the property was being marketed, there was an issue. And I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to talk about the specifics, but this property essentially, it was a yeah, let's just say it was mm, advertised incorrectly, in terms of in an inaccurate description of the property. So I got that and I explained it to the client. Hey, this property is listed at such a price because it's actually this and not this, as you kind of see on the listing. And the client's like, oh, that makes sense, but it could still work for me. So we went to go take a look. And when we walked in, it was exactly how I had described it to the clients because I had done my research on it, but not how it was being marketed online. So I can see where people are coming to this property, literally opening the door and walking right out because it's like a bait and switch. It's not what they were thinking they were going to see when they got there, but it was completely different. So for this reason, this property is going to continue to sit. Now, before we even get there was another issue, and that was access to the property. So, if you're not familiar with how real estate and showings work, is typically we use lock boxes here in Ontario, and lock boxes allow for, salespeople and brokers to essentially allow access with keys. So there's a lockbox that has keys in it, and I got instructions. So this was a condo, and I got instructions that the keys are with all the other lock boxes. So this condo has a spot where the lock boxes go. Perfect. So I go there, and normally people identify their lock boxes in a variety of ways. So some people put the unit number on it, some people put their business card on it, some people like paint their lockbox a specific color, or they put a ribbon on it, whatever, right? And then they'll give you instructions and say, this is our lockbox and this is the code. You can go retrieve the keys for your appointment. My lockbox instructions were very generic. It said lockbox located on whatever P1, P2 of the parking garage. That's all. That's all it said. And so I get there and there's like, let's say 50 lockboxes. And, I've done this before. So obviously I got there way ahead of time. So I was there maybe 15 or even 20 minutes early. And because I know how it is. I know how it is. So I didn't want to show up on time and therefore spend 15 minutes looking for the keys because that normally happens, and then therefore be late and also run into time and not a good impression with my client. So I got there early, and yeah, I look at all the lock boxes. So first I do a pass and I'm just looking for the unit number because I didn't have any instructions. So I look at all the lock boxes, trying to see, is my unit number on any of these lock boxes? I look at all of them. No, none of the lock boxes have my unit number, but there is a lockbox with a unit number that's very similar. I'm like, okay, um, not the unit I'm looking for, but very close. So maybe they made a mistake, but no. But then I stick to kind of my system. So the next thing I do is I'll look at the back of every lockbox, essentially, because a lot of people will put their business card on the back of the lockbox. So I'm looking on the back of each lockbox to see if it has the business card of the salesperson that is listing the unit I'm looking at. Look at all of them. No. Okay, so now I take another look, make sure, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss it. So I pull out my phone and I'm like, oh, let me call the listing agent and, maybe they can just tell me, oh, yeah, it's this one or this one. I'm in the parking garage, of course, and there is no cell phone reception in the parking garage. Wonderful. So I have to go upstairs and I got to text the agent. No, actually, I called first because why not? I called immediately and no answer. So I sent him a quick text. And also I happened to grab a picture of all the lock boxes. And I'm like, hey, I can't find the lockbox. Which one is it? No reply. I didn't get a call back. It's been a couple minutes, right? And I probably got like maybe another 5 or 6 minutes until my client's going to show up. So I'm like, okay, let me go back down there. You know what? It's probably that other lockbox with the very similar unit number. And guess what? The code works for that lockbox. And my unit number was only off by one. Like theirs and mine, there was only a difference of one number. So I'm like, perfect. They just labeled their lockbox wrong. And that one didn't have a business card or anything else on it, just a unit number. So I use the code I was given. I take out the keys and I'm like, so I go upstairs and I'm like, let me just text a picture of the keys to the agent just to make sure, like, hey, I couldn't find the lockbox, but I think I found it. I think you marked it incorrectly. Are these the keys? And the agent replies now and they go, no, those don't look like our keys. And then they send me a picture, a different picture, not mine, with a lockbox circled and said, I think it's labeled wrong. I think it's this lockbox. So I'm like, oh, great. And it's like 2 or 3 minutes. So I go back down there. I put these keys back where I got them from. I open that other lockbox and surprise, it opens. And let's say my unit number was like, I don't know, 2203. This lockbox was labeled like 327. Like it was way off. It was way off. And it made no sense how this would be it, but it was it. So this was a whole thing, 15 or 20 minutes. Some salespeople I know for a fact would have given up and said, hey, I couldn't find the keys and left. So I spent those 20 minutes finding the keys so I could show the unit to my client. And back to what we're talking about, these are mistakes, right? So if it's challenging for someone to access the property, and especially when we have tight showings, we have a tight schedule, we got like 4 or 5 within 45 minutes or an hour, and we got to get to the next one. So if this was like the second or the third one in my schedule, and we had gotten here, maybe we're already running late, there's a chance we call the listing agent or send them a message, hey, couldn't find the keys, we got to keep on moving. And this hurts the sellers at the end of the day when clients or potential buyers or sellers or potential clients can't get into the property, right? You get what I'm saying? So these were like two issues with one specific listing I came across recently. It just what it wasn't described correctly, and then it was really hard for people to get into it. And now when I'm at a condo, I always like to look at the log because they usually have you sign it on a piece of paper and you can see all the recent unit numbers other real estate agents have showed. And I looked at the log for like the last couple of days. Nobody else had showed this unit. Surprise. So that's some things to think about and some common pitfalls that happen that don't allow for a smooth transaction. And the next thing I want to talk about is pricing and pricing strategies. So in today's market in 2024, at the end of 2024, it is super important to have the right pricing. So I've seen this twice literally in the last week where homes have been listed for sale with an offer date when today's market does not call for an offer date. There is not a frenzy for these types of properties, and they've priced it low. They think they've strategically priced it low, thinking they're going to get multiple offers. And and in one case, our client was interested, but um, did not want to get into some weird bidding war when there doesn't need to be a bidding war. And and I've seen this with other ones as well, where things are just listed, um, hoping for a bidding war, and a bidding war or holding back offers strategy works if you price it really low and people come. That's the whole idea. It doesn't work if you kind of price it at the market price and have an offer date. It's not going to work, right? So that won't work in today's market. Maybe in a different market it would. So pricing and pricing strategy are super, super important. And other things are like, neglecting curb appeal. Is the outside of your home clean? Have you cut the grass, or in the winter, remove the snow, or have you all the lights working? Things like that, or like ignoring little repairs, touch ups, and stuff. All of that's going to make a big, big, big difference. And one other one I'll say is, choosing the wrong time to list. Yeah, so choosing the wrong type to list. So that might be like, the wrong time, like if there's a long weekend or something, or just like if you can wait till the spring and you're listing it in like the first week of January. So these are all things that we as experts, we got to read the market, and that's where we come in as brokers and salespeople who are studying the market. So these are my tips for success. Price for the market that you're listing in. Make it easy for the buyers to view your home. That buyer experience, like make it really, really top notch. I'll give a free hint today. Like one thing I like to do is um, ensure all the lights are on when a buyer comes in. Like buyers should not be like looking around trying to turn all the lights on. So many times, like if we can put it on a timer, or like if we're gonna have a lot of showings throughout the day, I always um, instruct my sellers, hey, in the morning, let's turn on all the lights. And then, we're going to have 10 showings or 15 showings today. Everyone has a good experience, and we tell everyone to leave the lights on. And with listings like that, I will ensure that I can go check on it throughout the day. So maybe once or twice throughout the day, make sure everything's clean. Nobody didn't use the washroom when they shouldn't have used it, didn't leave a door open. These things happen, but this is why like we're very hands-on with listings. And the last one is be ready to adapt, right? As the market changes, and right now the market can change quickly. So your strategy needs to align with the current market. And that's it for today. Those are my tips and pitfalls to avoid when selling your home or condo in a dynamic market. So we're going to end the podcast there. So if you're looking to sell, don't let these mistakes kind of hold you back. Let me help create a custom plan for success. And this is where our HSR method comes in. So you can always send me a message for a free copy of the HSR method. And with that, it's going to be an end to today's podcast. So send me some messages on Instagram at Sold by Harp, or feel free to send me an email, harpreed@hsr.team. But with that, thank you. Now, see you next time.